we support this idea of helping each other succeed. So let us first say something about what we want to help each other succeed. Now, we can say we want to help each other succeed in all areas of life. Because now we have some material needs, but we also have spiritual needs or spiritual inclination. But what we want to help each other succeed is to develop our personal relationship with Krishna. And we want to help each other in that. That's the main thing we want to help each other with. Because this Krishna consciousness movement, although it has so many challenges and difficulties and problems and imperfections, it is meant to help us develop our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all perfect and all good. Who is all perfect and all good. So we want to support each other in this effort to revive our dormant relationship with Krishna. We have forgotten Krishna, and we have come to the spiritual world where the living entities who want to forget Krishna, or who have forgotten Krishna, they want to stay in this oblivion of forgetfulness. And but now we have heard again that we belong to the spiritual world, we belong to Krishna, and we want to help each other go back to Krishna. And now Krishna is teaching us principles of goodness in his teachings, and he's teaching us how to relate to other human beings, how to relate to other living entities also, with compassion, with kindness, with patience, with tolerance, and sometimes also with strictness, but strictness with love, not strictness with envy. So we have all the guidelines how to do that, how to help each other. And Krishna and acharyas, or teachers, spiritual masters, they want us to cooperate with each other in this effort to actually go back to Krishna, or to revive our Krishna consciousness. And in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that every soul is amazing. The Sanskrit word is ashcharyavat. Some look at the soul as amazing, some speak about him as amazing, and some people, after even hearing about the soul, they don't understand the soul. They don't understand that the soul is eternal. So sometimes devotees have identity crisis. And then I say, but do you remember that you are eternal part and parcel of God? That you are Satchitananda. That's your identity. And this temporary identity is something that you will lose when you leave your body. So you can have some roles, like you are a father or a mother or a disciple, or you are working, you have some job. So you can have different roles, but you cannot identify with those roles because they are also temporary. So you can identify only with something that is eternal, and this is your eternal identity, is that you are eternal servant of Krishna. Now maybe you don't like it, but this is how God has created everything and created us. And now, one thing we can help each other with is actually develop faith in God. On a scale of 1 to 10, where is your faith in God? What would you say publicly? Maybe you're embarrassed to say it publicly. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much is your faith in God?
4.
1?
7.
Okay. 7?
6.
6.
8.
8. Getting closer to 10. So now, you see, we have to do something about it. We have to move from 1 to 10. So if you want to help your friend or your wife or husband, then you have to help them to move their faith from wherever they are to 10. Some devotees say 15, but that's, I think, overstatement. They have so much faith. So, faith. When is our faith tested? The most.
Difficulties.
When sun is shining, or is sun shining in Koeln, in Koeln sometimes? Yeah?
Yes.
So when we face difficulties, the faith is tested, and then we ask this eternal question, why me? I don't deserve this. I'm too good for these problems. I don't deserve this. But actually, Shastra says the opposite. You don't deserve, in the opposite direction. You, according to your karma, you deserve more suffering. Karmani nirdahati kintu chabakti bhajam. Krishna reduces karma. Brahma Samhita says, but Krishna reduces karma. And Bhagavatam also says, Tadenu kampam susamikshamana. Krishna reduces karma. So, there is a whole story of Avanti Brahmana, which I will speak about probably while I'm here. In the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is 23rd chapter, and describes a man who stopped blaming anybody for his problems. Now that's rare even among devotees. I mean, I spoke in my life to hundreds of devotees. And devotees also have a strong tendency to blame others for their troubles and for their misery, for their depression, whatever. So blaming others is actually a symptom of low consciousness. It's not high consciousness. People with high consciousness, they don't blame anybody. And Avanti Brahmana, he was not a good person. He was greedy for money. And he was so, how you say, miserly, that he didn't even spend the money, he was just accumulating it. He didn't even spend the money, he was just amassing money, accumulating money. And then somehow, by the will of Providence, he lost all his money, and his family also left him, everybody, family, friends. And he had this realization of renunciation, that he doesn't belong to this world, these people are not his family. And he became very serious about spiritual life. And then his big trouble started. So maybe you have this experience, you came to spiritual life to find relief, and then you have more problems than you ever had in your life. So why is that? Because the purification is intense. And then you start to see what is within your heart that you haven't seen before. And you can see it now because of the process of purification and the process of Krishna consciousness. So it's not bad. It's unpleasant, but it's all good. Like if you have a scar, and after some time, it heals slowly, and then it sometimes start itching a lot. And then you complain, when I was a little boy, I was complaining to my mother, it itches so much, I feel like scratching it. And she said, no, it means it's healing. It's healing. So be patient. In few days, it will go away. So similarly, we expect spiritual life to be all peaches and cream. You have in German? What fruits? Or what you have in German? Peaches and cream? In my country, we have honey and milk. So I don't know in German how you say peaches and cream. So it's not all rosy. Okay, in one word. It's not all rosy, but sometimes it's very intense, very difficult. Because it's not intense because Krishna is cruel, it's intense. It's not intense because Krishna is hard, it's intense because we are hard. And our heart is hard. That's why it's so intense. And we need to get purified. So to help someone keep faith when the trouble hits them, it's a great service for your friend. It's a great service for your wife or husband. Because if they have faith, they can face anything in life. And they will never leave God. So we have this, I would say, saying or a proverb or a principle or a motto or a slogan. Be ready for anything and never give up. So with this attitude, you can never lose. Be ready for anything and never give up. But in order to have this attitude, one has to have a strong faith. And people don't have strong faith. Even devotees don't have. I meet devotees who lose faith when it gets tough. So that means that we don't understand actually Krishna consciousness and its essence. If we lose faith when it gets tough. Why there are so many stories in the scriptures describing troubles of people, different people, and how they continued and how they kept their faith. There in these scriptures for us to understand that we will also face some such difficulties. If you say it's not fair, that means you think you're better than you are. Or than you were. Now you're a good person, you're trying to be a devotee, try to be saintly, try to help others. That's fine. But before, you were not like that. Before, you were not like that. And if Yamaraj would show you the recording of all of your sinful activities in the past, you would see that you are getting less than you deserve. Less reactions, less suffering than you deserve. You will see this and you will say, oh, thank you, Krishna, I'm getting so little. And this is described in the Bhagavata. I'm getting so little, wow. And I was thinking I'm getting too much. So, there is no one to blame, especially not to blame God. So if you and your close person, close one, like your relative or a friend, you come to this point to understand that we are actually in a great position. God is protecting us from our own reactions. So let us enthusiastically serve. Let us serve enthusiastically. And let us face any difficulty that comes and never lose faith. Now, it doesn't mean you become a victim and you become a person that anybody can do anything with and torture you. No, you have to protect yourself, and you should seek protection if somebody is torturing you. But at the same time, whatever happens, we don't resist, we accept it, and we try to look for a valuable lesson inside. Why things are happening to us? To discover a valuable lesson, to learn something, We have this story of Daksha and Maharaj Prithu, I think. No, Indra and Maharaj Prithu. They had a big conflict. And then they actually decided to give up envy amongst each other and to embrace each other. Sometimes devotees fight and then they forgive each other and offer obeisances. This ability to forgive is very important, to forgive others. Because it's not an accident that something is happening to us. So what I'm talking about is simple law of action and reaction. And we think we know this law, but actually when the rubber meets the road, or when we are in a real life situation, we don't understand why bad things happen to a nice guy like me. We think I don't deserve it. If we understand the law of action and reaction, then we will know that there is a reason why this is happening to me. I was not so nice in the past. If we can swallow this bitter pill of truth and reality, then we can become peaceful. And whatever happens, we will say like 8 verse of Shikshashtaka, Ashli Shiva Padarakam Pinashtamam, Adakshanam Namahatam Karotua, Yadatata Vidadatulam Patoma Prananatas Tu Sevana Paraha. Whatever you will do, my Lord, I will not stop serving you. Have you ever gotten angry at Krishna? Don't be shy. Yeah, okay. Krishna, what are you doing? This is too much. But then, when you calm down and when you talk to someone, they help you have a more spiritual perspective. See it from this angle, see it from that angle, see it from above, see it from below. And then you understand, oh my God, actually, wow. My anger has no grounds. I should get angry at myself and my own misdeeds and my own imperfections, because God is always perfect. And He is also always my highest well-wisher. So do you believe the Bhagavatam verse which says that we get less than we deserve? How many of you believe this verse? It's 10, 14, 8. Canto 10, chapter 14, text 8. Okay, Lilamita Mataji believes. You see, so how this verse is called a bitter pill. Bitter pill. So if I want to help you succeed, I have to help you understand, I'm sorry that you are not an angel. Maybe you look like an angel. Maybe you are impressed when you look at the mirror that nature and God were so kind to you, that you look so nice. But even demons sometimes look very handsome. And they are very well behaved, they are sophisticated, but behind the scenes they are monsters. So good looks don't guarantee you have a good character. And mirror doesn't guarantee you have a good character. So can you swallow that bitter pill that you are not an angel? It's very hard. It's very hard to do. But if you are able to do, why I'm proposing this crazy idea, if you are able to do this, you will become very peaceful. And I want peace for you. Not only peace, also sometimes ecstasy. But I want peace for you in your heart, that you are peaceful and that you have strong faith. And you know that God is always here. In thick and thin, in fire and water, in sunshine and rain, in every situation He's there. He never leaves you. And He wants the best for you. And when He gives you trouble, then your faith is tested. And all reading of Prabhupada's books and all the lectures you have heard and all the chanting you have done is tested when you get in trouble. And when you think it's not fair. And true, it's not fair, but it's not fair in the sense that you get less, not more. It's just the opposite. So when you preach like this, you get tested. So I was preaching about unconditional love for the past probably 6 months, quite intensely. I started preaching a lot, almost every lecture. I preach about unconditional love, and then everything I preached was tested heavily, up to the point of crawling on the floor and crying like crazy, and so many things happened. So if you dare to speak high, you will be tested hard. Because Krishna wants to see, do you realize what you speak about? Have you realized that? So therefore, now I'm coming to our topic, which is the central topic of this class, of helping each other succeed. How can we help each other succeed in Krishna consciousness? And I propose that we can help each other succeed in Krishna consciousness. How? What would you propose before I tell you this idea? What would be the best way that you think you can help another devotee succeed? Yeah?
Because we're doing Sankirtan, that is, we're doing everything sun means together. That is to understand that there is no other way. If we want to love, then yes, we should be ready to help each other. Just like ought to be, that is our duty.
And how by Sankirtan we help each other succeed?
We are doing together in the temple, everything, cooking, distributing work.
Serving together.
Serving together, we're serving together our deities, and we're serving together, if possible, each other. So on the level, what is at the moment.
Okay.
So for us.
So this serving each other, that's my point. Serving, how can we serve each other? That's my main concern. So any other proposal? How would you, maybe you didn't think about it until now, but now I'm giving you food for thought, to think about how can I help another devotee succeed in the best possible, optimal way? What would you, yes?
I would say to chant the holy name, to chant at least 8 rounds.
You will tell them to chant the holy name. Okay. That's perfect. Yeah.
I have read that if I want to change the world, then I have to change first of all myself. So I would say that by giving a personal example, by behaving properly myself, I would influence them in positive direction.
Very nice. Personal example. Giving them holy name, serving together, doing Sankirtan together, and chanting and other services. These are wonderful ideas. So, you see, if we start to think about these things, and while I'm here, we can speak more about this, not only in my classes, but also privately if you're interested. How can we help other devotees succeed? I mean, last year we spoke about devotee care, and we have also here mentoring systems, so we will also meet with mentors. But we can individually speak if you want to develop that skill, to have deep relationships with devotees, so where you can help in a profound way. So how can we do that? Okay, give me one more idea, and then I will tell you my secret.
We should see what the other devotee wants, what he needs. You see his needs,
Nice. Yeah.
what he wants us to help him with.
Yeah. To see their needs, both spiritual and material needs, to see their needs, or to help them with their needs. That's wonderful. This service attitude. Okay, so now I'm proposing something that is general, but something, I don't know how much it is practiced, and also it is stated in Upadeshamrita, about 6 loving exchanges, and 2 of them have to do with this point. Guyam, Akyati, Prichati. Prasadam, exchange is going on, gifts, more or less, but Guyam, Akyati, Prichati, having deep conversations is something we don't do very much in ISKCON. We are too busy. We don't have time to sit and have a deep conversation. But when you do that, this is so beneficial. This is so amazing. It can change your life. It can transform your life. It can turn around everything. It can save you from so much anxiety. For example, if you speak to someone and they help you to see things from a different perspective, it can completely relieve you from anxiety and stress and pain even, if you can see things differently. So I say having deep conversation, and this verse that I mentioned today, 10:9, Matchita Madgata Prana, which says that enlightening each other, this is also a deep conversation. So one kind of deep conversation you can have with the devotee is, how is your relationship with Krishna? Are you open to his love? Have you opened your heart to give him your love? Do you consciously cultivate a loving relationship with Krishna? And how do you do it? And has your practice become mechanical? You can explore these questions together, and how can you have a deep conversation? Maybe you don't hit devotees with these heavy questions, but you create an environment where they can think about their own relationship with Krishna. So you can listen so they can think. And also you can ask a question here and there. For example, how is your relationship with Krishna? Or I ask you now one question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much is your faith? And you said 1 and 7. So you can kind of assess things or review things or explore things or analyze where am I now? And instead of having a Haribol conversation, you can have or how are you conversation? How are you? I'm fine. And you? I'm also fine. And none of them is fine. Struggling like anything, but they don't have a habit or don't have a courage to have a deep conversation and to face things. And to face my heart, which is still full of things that need to change. And now, to have such a deep conversation, you need to have trust. And how do you develop trust? There is a science of developing trust, or building trust. Prabhupada said our relationships should be based on love and trust in one letter, and it has become a very important principle in ISKCON. And we don't know how to build trust. One way to build trust is to make and keep promises. So how many times you have broken a promise, and then people started to doubt you, that whenever you promise, you don't fulfill it. So he's not trustworthy. That's one important thing. Also, you promise something to yourself. You want to have self-confidence. Nowadays, people are teaching us to have self-confidence. I say we don't need self-confidence. We need confidence in Krishna. But okay, you want to develop self-confidence, and now how can you develop self-confidence? You make a promise to yourself and keep it. From tomorrow, I chant in the morning. How many have given this vow, or try to give a vow, try to set this goal? Set the goal, from tomorrow I'm going to get serious about my japa. And then when alarm clock rings, the mind says, you are too tired. If you're well rested, your japa will be much better quality. So just sleep 1 more hour or 2 more hours, and then japa time is gone. And then you are hit by daily duties, and then you are finishing in the night your japa. So if you're not able to give promise to yourself and keep it, how will you give promises to others and keep it? Some people are better at giving promises to others and keeping it, but not giving promises to yourself and keeping it. So to have deep conversations, we need trust, and we need to consciously develop and build trust. I just posted on Facebook something that usually, if you see statements on Facebook that are mine, that are not from somebody else, I mean, I put names, I don't put my name to other people's quotes. So when you see my quote, usually it comes during japa. So something came to me about relationships. The real love is trust, everything else is Hollywood. You understand? Everything else is a dream of a perfect relationship in the imperfect material world between imperfect conditioned souls. How can you have a perfect relationship between imperfect souls or conditioned souls? How can you have perfect relationship? It's impossible. But we are dreaming, and Hollywood is teaching us that it's possible to have this perfect relationship. But actually, the main ingredient in any relationship is not this attraction, it's actually trust. And trust comes from the soul. Trust comes from the soul. So when you have trust, you can have a deep relationship and deep conversations and bold conversations, courageous, brave, bold conversations, and you can actually address things that you need to address. Why people maybe don't like you, if you are a straightforward person, if you are a bold speaker, why people don't like bold speakers? Because from the bold speaker, people will hear what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So therefore, you can avoid classes, you can avoid coaching session, you can avoid mentoring session, you can avoid getting someone with whom you can have deep conversations. And I myself, you may think that I am above this. No, I also have coaches, I also have devotees with whom, not only one, with whom I speak about my weaknesses, my challenges, my mistakes. And it helps me a lot. It helps me so much. And the reason why I believe it can help other devotees is because it has been helping me this process of deep conversations. So, there is one verse in the Bhagavatam which says that self-effulgent Vaikuntha planets cannot be attained by those who are not compassionate. So our behavior, the way we relate to each other is directly connected to our liberation. You may think, I'm going to have my relation with Krishna and not with all these imperfect devotees or imperfect non-devotees, but actually, if you're not compassionate, you will not go back to Godhead. This is what Bhagavatam says. So you may think, mentoring, this is for those who, have this natural inclination to help others. No, mentoring is something that can help you. If you help others in a deep way, then you will be saved. And somehow you have to earn it. You have to earn it. So maybe you don't like people around you, but God is pleased if you serve them and if you help them. And if you are compassionate. So it doesn't matter if you like or not, but this is your duty to serve others and to support them. And why we don't support others? Because every conditioned soul has a heart which is infected with envy. Because of envy, we don't help others or don't help others in a deep way. Because we don't care. Why should I care for you? Who are you? I don't know you. But actually, if you see everyone as your brother and sister, as a part and parcel of God, we are all children of God. We owe to each other. We are indebted to each other. We can help each other. And we should help each other succeed. And Prahlad Maharaj prays, this practicing bhakti yoga, they will think of each other's welfare. To think of each other's welfare. This thinking of other people's welfare is also mentioned in the 16th verse of the Bhagavad Gita in the purport to the verse that describes the austerity of mind. Thinking of the welfare of others. So those who are engaged in bhakti yoga, Prahlad Maharaj says, they think of each other's welfare. They think of each other's welfare. What does that mean? It means you ask yourself, how can I help this devotee? Or even, how can I help my child? Sometimes you don't understand your child because you're a devotee, you know perfect philosophy and you know all the rules and you know the absolute truth. And based on this, you become super judgmental. And you judge your child, and when they become a teenager and put a ring in their ear and put tattoo, and you get really disgusted that why did you put tattoo? And they say, but I put the Singadev tattoo or chakra or Jagannath. Yes, but tattoo is low class. So they do things that you don't like, then you start to become really judgmental, and actually you stop loving them. You hate them. When your child, your little baby, cute, that you are kissing all over and feeding and washing, now is a very rebellious teenager, and you hate him because he doesn't follow the rules of Krishna consciousness that you yourself doesn't follow perfectly. You want him to follow everything perfectly, but you yourself, over the 20, 30 years, you have been so imperfect in following. But now you want your child to follow so that people can say he must be Krishna conscious because his teenager is obedient. And it never happens. Some devotees tell me, my child told me, I'm not going to be a devotee, so leave me alone. So what do? You make an announcement in the newspaper, I'm rejecting this child, put him in a foster care. Is this devotional? Is this devotional attitude? So to have deep conversation and to listen to people's challenges and their whatever they're going through, all kinds of trouble, we also have to give up judgmentalism, to judge people. So therefore, I have 4 words for you. Help more, judge less. Help more, judge less. Help more, judge less. I hope by repeating it 3 times you will remember it. Maybe if I do a little dance, you will remember, you will connect it with this quote. Or something physical. But it's so important, 4 words, so deep. Help more, judge less. And now, how many of you have patience to listen to others? I know you don't want to advertise yourself, but okay, there are some hands, thank you. That's very difficult for Kali Yuga people to do. To listen patiently, to listen to others for 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Just listen, just listen. There is one book, I can give it to you. It's called Just Listen. And the subtitle is How to Get Through to Anyone. Get through means, you communicate with somebody. Not only through masks, but really person to person. Just listen. So to have these deep conversations, both sides have to be able to listen so that the other person can think very deeply. And if you're more interested in these topics, you can come to me, I can give you materials, we can meet, we can discuss in small groups, in one-to-one, whatever you like. But if you want to develop this ability to have deep conversations with devotees, then you can come. I will be here sometime. And when I'm not here, I'm available online. So these are some of the thoughts and prerequisites for helping devotees succeed, helping each other succeed in a very profound way. And we can see how much God is pleased when we cooperate. Prachetas, we are chanting together under the water the song of Lord Shiva. I'm not sure how they were chanting under the water. So, the water comes into your mouth, but they have some mystic powers. And Vishnu came on Garuda, and he said, I'm so pleased by your friendly relationships that I want to give you any benediction you want. So imagine how much benefit is there. We want Lord's mercy, and when He says cooperate, we say that's too hard. That's too hard to do. Better I practice alone, Krishna consciousness, just Babaji. I don't want to fight with devotees and make offenses, so better I practice alone. No, but dealing with others is a challenge, and if we have a proper attitude, then it becomes a pleasure, even if it sometimes is bittersweet. Sometimes it's hard. But imagine if you have a conflict, and then you sit to resolve it, and you resolve it somehow, maybe with the help of the mediator, or somebody senior, or somebody junior. How good will you feel? But when you fly away, when you walk away from the conflict, it means you are walking away from a challenge. You're walking away from a challenge, and you feel bad about yourself. You don't feel like a hero. But when you face things and say, I'm going to face everything, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to beat you up if needed, and you beat me, but at the end we will embrace each other. I didn't mean physically, but a little bit like verbal fight. And then we will come to a conclusion that we all have the same goal. We want to serve Krishna. And why should we make it hard for each other when we can make it easier for each other? So life is short. Why should we make it hard for each other? We can make it easier for each other. And to make it easier for each other, we have to become concerned. How are you? Not this superficial, how are you? Okay, let's have a better question. How is your spiritual health? Oh, that's a harder question. My spiritual health? I don't know if it exists. I think I'm very sick spiritually. How is your japa? Oh, that's a hard question. My japa was great when I joined, but since last 35 years, since I became a little bit less afraid of hell, and my japa is not so strong. When I was afraid of hell, I was chanting sincerely. I was chanting like a child who cries for its mother. But since I became a little strong by prasadam and by the mercy of devotees, then I started to chant mechanically, and I'm chanting mechanically since. And I finish my rounds. And then when I put aside my beads, I say, this is my practice for the past 100 years. I do like this when I finish my japa. Finally, now I can eat or watch YouTube and eat at the same time. I mean, this is a great pleasure, to eat and watch YouTube. And devotees are so fascinated by these gifts, you know, GIF. You know GIF gifts? So there is a dog, you know, there is a dog hitting another dog. This is so amazing. My God. And you eat prasadam, you know, I'm doing something spiritual, but at the same time I'm watching this dog hit another dog. And this other dog is much bigger than the small dog, but the other dog is afraid to do anything because this small dog is so fierce. It is so sharp, and the big dog is afraid. And I'm watching this, and I'm enjoying prasadam by watching the dogs. And then click on another link. Oh, this Prabhuji is giving class about anarthas. How, if I eat this, I will have a very bad digestion. Because if I see this, if I watch this, not eat this, if I watch this, so therefore better I watch something light. And what is light? Small dog hitting the big dog is very light. So I want to de-stress by, experiencing a little bit of material relationships between animals. Because I don't want now heavy philosophical topics or speaking about my lust, anger and greed. Because, I will not be able to digest this wonderful Maha Prasad. So, how can you like yourself if you always do compromise with your highest values? How is this possible? If what you do secretly and what you do publicly is not the same, how can you like yourself? You know you're a hypocrite. We know we are a hypocrite if we do like that. So how can a hypocrite be happy? It's very difficult. It's impossible by the law of God. And now to greater or lesser degree, we all are guilty or at least feel bad about this. That I'm not true to my values. So for this year, I came a little late. It's already 2 months past to speak about New Year resolution. But for the 10 months of this year, if you have a motto for your life that I'm going to make no compromise with my highest values, then you can become a spiritual hero. And how can we help each other succeed? We help each other succeed to become a spiritual hero. And Prabhupada describes in the purport in the 4th canto, what is a spiritual hero? Spiritual hero is a Goswami, one who can control his senses. Or who can keep promises that he makes to himself. In other words, become a spiritual hero. Prabhupada says the individual living being is a hero in 2 ways. He can be material hero and he can be a spiritual hero. And by being a spiritual hero, he is serving Krishna and controlling his senses. Material hero is actually materially successful in sense gratification. Especially sinful sense gratification. So you can choose. But in any case, you are challenged to become a hero, whether material or spiritual. Sometimes devotees also want to become a material hero. So they get a big car, sunglasses, a lot of money, the best clothes, the best apartment, and they feel good about themselves. That I'm successful at least materially. And some devotees want to become successful spiritually, so they want to surrender to Krishna. And also, what is the best heroism in the spiritual realm, apart from attentive chanting? The best heroism is to preach Krishna consciousness. So I want to encourage you to see how you can preach Krishna consciousness or help preachers and spread the message and try to inspire people to practice Krishna consciousness. And we want to help each other succeed and develop our personal relationship with Krishna, and we want to help each other succeed in the preaching mission to preach Krishna consciousness. So we can have a conversation, deep conversation, where we speak, okay, how are you preaching? Oh, I'm preaching this way, that way, okay. And how are you preaching? And I'm preaching this way. Okay, so can I help you in this? Oh yeah, you can help me. Please help me to distribute books better, to cook better, to listen to people better, to counsel people better, to support people better, to love devotees better. So many ways we can help each other. If you see someone who is successful in any area, just come to him with folded hands and put his or her feet on your head and tell them, please bless me to be like you, so that I can do this service like you are doing it so successfully for so many years. So thank you very much for listening. So what we spoke today is about helping each other succeed. in Krishna consciousness. We spoke about faith, we spoke about deep conversations, we spoke about helping each other develop relationship, personal relationship with Krishna. We spoke about courage to face what we need to change. We started with a verse from the Gita, Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayantas Parasparam, Kata Antaschaman Nityam, Tushyanti Charamanticha, where Krishna speaks about enlightening each other. The devotees talk about Krishna and Krishna conscious topics and enlightening each other and help each other succeed in this way. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Yes?
Are we
Little louder.
are we supposed to help older devotees as well, or is there some limitations we can face in life?
Excellent question. I don't know if we will have some seminars while I'm here, but I would like to share with devotees the idea called, or concept called success partnership, where I give different structures how devotees can help each other succeed, no matter age or whatever. They don't have to be equals. So it's a structure that helps anyone help anyone. That means success partnership is actually a two-way session, where half of the session you play the role of a mentor or a coach, and half of the session you play the role of a client or a disciple or whatever, like subordinate role, and you are helped. So I give different system and structures based on the Shastra and the some professional tools, where it doesn't matter if the senior devotee is willing to accept assistance from somebody. For example, I'm accepting assistance from younger devotees because they are very good coaches. Some of them are very good coaches. They listen very well, they ask very good questions, they are interested in helping me, and I find their help very, very, very useful. So, if the senior devotee doesn't want, then they need to find somebody else or whatever. I mean, I don't know if they want help from anyone. Once we had a European leaders meeting in Pradesh, and I was proposing that every leader has a coach, because leaders are lonely sometimes and they don't have anybody to talk to. And then one GBC member, senior devotee, he said, "Oh, but who will help us? We are senior than everyone." And I said that, okay, then you can have peer coaching and help each other. But I also said that coach doesn't have to be senior in order to help, because mainly he is not giving advice, he's just helping you to figure out what you want and how you get it. So helping you to think, asking you questions, listening, asking you some questions. So that's a service, and you don't have to be senior to do that. If you know how to do this, then you can help so many people, even senior devotees. And if you want to learn, I can give you some books and we can practice. You can help anybody. I do coach senior devotees. I coached a lot of senior devotees in my 20 years of coaching. And I mean, from all kinds of levels in ISKCON. And I was very careful to be respectful and to not come across as top down or as somebody who thinks he knows more than they. Even if they ask me for advice, one has to be very respectful. And mainly, I was asking questions, and it was helpful. Mainly listening and asking questions. Okay?
Thank you.
More questions?
Yes. How can we help people let go of their fear?
Can you say it again?
How can we help other people let go of their fears?
Wow, that's a great question. If I would have a cookie, I would hit you with a cookie. That's a beautiful question. Fear is a big obstacle to success. even in Krishna consciousness. And there is a beautiful, beautiful verse. I think it's 4:23:51. Can anybody look up Bhagavatam 4:23:51? Just check if it speaks about fearlessness. 4:23:51. Who will be faster? Two devotees.
23 has only 39 chapters, verses, I mean.
Okay, then it's not 4. It's something
Is
else.
it 4:23?
21.
51.
Yeah, 23 chapter has only 39 verses.
4:23. Okay, I don't know by heart the number, but I can find it. This verse and purpose speak about the duty of a husband, of a king, of a father, of a guru. I think mother is also mentioned. Is to instill fearlessness. Oh, you know, actually, Devahuti is talking to Kardama Muni. You found it?
It's 3:23:51 Bhagavatam and
3.
3.
It's not 4, it's 3. 3:23:51. So, Devahuti is talking to Kardama Muni and he wants to take sannyas. He wants to go to the forest and she says, you can go, but first instill fearlessness in me. So it is the duty of a devotee to instill fearlessness in everyone. That's an amazing point. Thank you so much for raising it. I'm going to speak, or whenever I give class about this, no matter what's the verse, but this, the duty of anybody who is responsible, a preacher is responsible, devotees are responsible in the society, is to instill fearlessness. And when people feel that we can give them fearlessness, they will like Krishna consciousness very much. But fearlessness is only possible with God, and if we help them connect with God, real fearlessness. So first, you need to become fearless in order to help others become fearless, and to be fearless, you need to develop faith. You need to grow your faith. And I think fearlessness is possible only if we have strong faith, because we know then we have God's protection. This is, I think, the basis of it. Yes?
Just something I had in my mind when you were talking about when we try to help others, but we have to get the impression they don't want to get the help. Should we still help them, or should we just leave them?
What do you think?
I think we should still try to help them.
Did you already try this? Did you already try this?
Yeah, a little bit, but it
Did it work?
No.
So now you defeated your own conclusion. Yeah. So we always want to fan the spark of free will. Free will. You always deal with free will. Then it has a lasting effect. Otherwise, they will surrender to you for some time, and as soon as you disappear, they will do their own thing. So, but if it sinks in, then even when we are not there, this is like in leadership. When leader is here, people, because out of fear, they may, like for example, we have this example that when Guru comes, everybody is very humble and they cooperate. Not always, but mostly cooperate and work together, and they sit in front of the Guru and look at him like this. But when Guru leaves, then devotees start to fight. And but if they are really good disciples, they will actually cooperate even more when he is not there, because his protection is not there. So again, you can test yourself when no one is looking, or if nobody is supervising you. You can test how much realized you are, how much sincere you are, and things like that. If people don't want help, usually they need to go through the school of hard knocks a little longer. But we don't reject it. That's very important. We don't reject it. We know, okay, maybe he has to go. I also had to go to so many schools of hard knocks, and maybe he needs a couple of more years to try to enjoy the material world. But when they come back, we don't say, oh, you have left Krishna consciousness and we hate you and you're a demon. No, we say, oh, welcome back. Just continue where you stopped. Welcome back. We are here to assist you, and we are here to serve them, so they can continue where they stopped. We don't want to make them feel bad or just leave, because we are not welcoming and accommodating. But we want to say, okay, now. And they sometimes come and say, oh, I was kicked by Maya so much, so now I've become a little more serious. And another thing in relation to this is that we are not attached that they are helped by us. Sometimes other people can help them better, so we can send them to somebody or they can find somebody else. And therefore we spoke upstairs yesterday that we need different preachers, because some people who cannot hear from me will be able to hear from you. Therefore you should also preach. So we are not attached that I am the one who is helping, but we are attached that they are helped. Or we are concerned, we want that they are helped. So then sometimes we can ask, can you talk to them or send them to somebody? And in this way, we want that they are helped, and we are not attached to they're helped by us. Okay, last question. Who has the best question?
We don't have any cookie.
What?
We don't have any cookies.
Oh, there is a feast. Yes?
It is said that we should treat each being like Krishna, like this Gopala or Krishna in them, or like Shiva in them, right? Treat each being like God is in everyone. So, but when you face in the real world, you meet people who are nice, so it's easy to think that, imagine that there's God in them and you can treat them like that. But then you meet some nasty people who are either trying to use you or either trying to torture you, as you said. So how to, at that time when you meet this second kind of people, or people who are, you cannot really easily imagine or force yourself, oh, Krishna is in them and I have to serve them, how to deal with such situations?
But Krishna is even in the hearts of such people.
Yeah, but how can you, exactly,
how can you what?
Still serve when you don't feel it, because that person is,
If they attack you, you can serve them by beating them up.
you will beating Krishna.
Because they will learn. No, Krishna is telling Arjuna to kill all these people who are bad. So Krishna didn't say, oh, I am in heart of Duryodhana, all these guys. Please be careful not to hit me with a bow and arrow, with the arrow. No, he said, your duty is to protect religious principles, and you can kill them all. Krishna will not be hurt if you defend yourself and hit them. But you can try different things. You can try to feed them prasadam so that Krishna enters through the mouth. Sometimes there is devotees who, at the first meeting with devotees, there is one guy who beat up Mataji, who tried to distribute book to him. And she was so injured that she ended up in a hospital, I think, for a long time, very heavy injuries. And then he became a devotee. He also broke the book and tore it apart. And he became a devotee, and now he's a very serious devotee. But at first meeting, he beat the Sankirtan Mataji, a devotee, a lady. He beat her up because he didn't know. He was thinking she's strange, or I don't know. Because you never know which demon is a devotee. Yeah, you never know. So you can give them a chance. And Krishna is still in their heart, but they are covered with the modes of nature. They are covered with the modes of nature, and that's why they behave like this under the influence of ignorance and passion. And you want to somehow help them to get some mercy. And sometimes devotees have to be strict with people. Once in Ireland, police attacked devotees who were on Harinam and wanted to arrest them. But Irish devotees are strong, or at least those devotees were strong, and they actually locked up the police in the car and continued Harinam. So they use their physical strength to stop the police from stopping the Harinam and the glorification of the Lord. And I think police understands that Hare Krishnas are not a joke. Prabhupada was also saying that there is one lecture where Prabhupada says that if needed, Vaishnava can get really, really tough, but usually we are non-violent. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Dalintai Jai Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
ISKCON Koeln ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.